Lately, it's kind of feeling like Dan Campbell's hiding something in a message. He's trying to tell us something about another wide receiver that's not Tim Patrick that we should really be listening to. I'm going to talk about it today. Hi, I'm Mike Payton with A to Z Sports Detroit, and I'm here to talk to you about why Allen Robinson might be getting into this offense a little bit more going forward. So back in the offseason, the Lions had a lot of receiver problems. They talked about it a lot. We talked a lot about it at A to Z Sports Detroit. One of the big things was that this team just did not have the X receiver, just did not have someone that could come out and be a third guy, a wide receiver three, somebody, while Khalif Raymond was their pseudo wide receiver three, and they said he's wide receiver three and all this and that. He's really not somebody that's going to get a lot of targets. In this season, he hasn't really been targeted at all. So the Lions needed to find somebody. They didn't draft anybody. They didn't get anyone in free agency. And then on cut down day, they got Tim Patrick. And right away, that was, that's the guy. That's the one everyone expects to be that next Josh Reynolds piece. And so far, he's accomplished that. We made a video about that last week. We think that this is a big thing that the Lions have solved. They're doing things right on that end. But it's hard not to, when we listen to Dan Campbell talk, it's hard not to see that he is talking about Allen Robinson a lot. And this goes all the way back to September when all the questions seem to be about Tim Patrick. Dan Campbell was always working Allen Robinson's name into it. Ben Johnson did the same thing. Allen Robinson got talked about a lot. And I think just everybody kind of wrote him off. At one point, as we know, Allen Robinson was a Pro Bowl receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, was really good for the Chicago Bears, as Lions fans can attest. He was a very good receiver for quite a while. In the last few years, that's dipped down. He hasn't been that guy that he once was. And kind of the thought process behind Allen Robinson was, well, bring him in. He's a hometown guy. He'll get a chance to play for his hometown team. You probably won't see him much. He'll stay on the practice squad, and that'll be that. A couple weeks into the season, Allen Robinson was signed to the 53-man roster. And while he's only played short amount of snaps so far, Dan Campbell once again talked about him on Wednesday. Campbell got to the podium. He was asked about Tim Patrick, and he talked about Tim Patrick, obviously, but he made sure to once again work Allen Robinson into that conversation. And the whole conversation was about how both these veteran players have come on and they're kind of acting like young guys. They want to be coached. They want to be pointed in the right direction. They want to do everything right. And that's the way that they're gaining trust. He mentioned that Tim Patrick is gaining trust from the offense. He's gaining trust from Jared Goff. Allen Robinson is doing the very same thing. So it leads you to believe that while Tim Patrick is probably going to take that Josh Reynolds role, they may work like into a committee with Allen Robinson where both those guys are taking snaps, they're taking targets, they're getting stuff done. And I think you might see a little bit of a late resurgence from Allen Robinson. He's not going to be a Pro Bowler. That's not going to happen. But think about it as Bill Walton on the 1986 Celtics. He was sixth man of the year. He was just a guy that come off the bench, had some great defense, got a few buckets in, but he wasn't anybody that really, he wasn't going to make the all-star team. He wasn't going to be a high-paid player. As a matter of fact, that was his last really productive year, and he kind of sat out the rest of his career and soon retired after that. So Allen Robinson maybe is the football version of Bill Walton this year. He could be that sixth man on the Lions receiving core. He can come off the bench, get some catches, make some big moments, play some, good blocking. He can't play defense, obviously, but he can block, get in there, get some stuff done. And I think that we're going to wind up seeing a lot more of him than we probably expected to see. And that's going to be really interesting to see where things go. This Lions team went from a team that was really sorely needing a receiver to a team that suddenly has a plethora of guys that could be contributing. This is all very good stuff for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. We'll see where things go. We will keep an eye on it, and we will come back to you and talk about it more. Until then, we'll see you next time.